Terraria has a lot of weird and often ignored mechanics or things you can do like golfing or farming to a small extent. But one of these mechanics that has been in the game for most of its life doesn't go unnoticed, and that's fishing. Fishing is the worst mechanic in all of Terraria, and I completely despise it since it's mostly useless, heavily luck based, and boring to do. Attention spans are very small nowadays, so I get straight into it with RNG and Bordem. While RNG is annoying a lot of the time, it's still one of Terraria's most important aspects. Without it, the game wouldn't be nearly as replayable as it is, and it's why the game has survived and why it's one of the best in its genre. For example, on how RNG could shape a playthrough, say you get lucky enough to get the Grey Zappinator from the Traveling Merchant early game. That right there could shift you from being whatever you were into becoming a mage because of how good that gun is. Or later in the game, you could find a Martian saucer and get better weapons. But how does this apply to fishing? Well, it just makes it really annoying and straightforward. When you fish, you have a high chance to get a fish, how surprising, a chance to get a crate, and a chance to get a random object. But when most people fish, they're looking for something specific, maybe an angler quest item or an accessory, and when you fish, you're at the will of RNG. So, you could either immediately get it, or sit there for hours as enemies try to kill you as you try to get a single item. Also, another annoying little thing about fishing, your line can just break, which causes your line to fail. You can get an accessory that stops this, but it doesn't stop the fact that fishing in and of itself is an annoying activity. It's as if they tried to make the act of fishing as annoying and unfun as possible. What I'm getting at here is that you'll probably be wasting a lot of time. Sure, the regular fish you get are useful for making food buffs, but that's probably it. With that time, you could be searching for better armor and weapons elsewhere, or farm Old One's army for its great armor if you're post-mech. Unless there's quite literally nothing else for you to do, or if you really love fishing for some reason, then it isn't worth the time. And again, due to the nature of fishing, it's a stark contrast to the rest of Terraria because it's boring. And this is the core issue that I have with fishing, an issue that I'll continually bring up because RNG and boredom are my biggest complaints when it comes to fishing. Angler quests. The angler is an asshole, but in an endearing way, so that doesn't matter. It's his quests that are a whole other story though. Every quest has the same route. You must find a special quest fish in a specific biome. While this sounds fun, since you'll be fishing in places that you would never fish in otherwise, it isn't. Of course, RNG plays a lot in this as usual, which is annoying, but the worst part about these quests are that he only gives you a day to do them. This either means that you'll finish the quest too early and you can't do another one for his loot, or you'll finish it too late and you'll have to retry another one the next day. It's not fun, it's just irksome since, again, fishing isn't fun. It's just unexciting, and going to these different places to fish in the first place can be bothersome since you might not have a big enough body of water to even do anything with it. So then you have to draw water or put water in a big pool to fish. This doesn't always happen, but it makes it so you have to turn in the angler quest a bit later, which might mean that your time spent was for nothing on that day. And about the loot that you get from them, it's not good. A few useful items you can get include the sponges, the bottomless pit liquid buckets, the fuzzy carrot early pre-hard mode since it only takes 5 angler quests to get, and the golden bug net since it helps get bugs easier. But the other items like freaking fin wings for hard mode or the fish hook take way too much work to get for how bad they are. Nobody actually farms for these items because they suck, and a lot of other jobs are just for show-off purposes like trophies or vanity sets. It doesn't make any sense to go out of your way to do these quests unless you're specifically looking for these items. I guess you could say that this is just part of making fishing more fleshed out and fun, but the quests fail by giving no great incentive as a fisher to go out for them other than a bit of bait and cash, which is easy to acquire through breaking grass for bugs, and crates also give you some bait sometimes. And money's good to get because you can just sell the fish. Also, if you're unironically a big fisher in Terraria, then I'm gonna look at you funny, dude. Go kill bosses and mine underground or something instead of grinding for some goofy shit like the fuzzy carrot. But he was like halfway through, so I want to say, join my Discord server if you want to have a discussion with me or other people on the various aspects of Terraria. It's been like 3 months since I made a Terraria video, but I intend to reignite that part of my subscriber base with this video and subsequent ones afterwards. Buffs. For some of the best buffs in the game like Endurance, Wrath, or Life Force potions, you have to fish. I'll make a video about buff potions since I find that part of Terraria to be annoying as well, but the fact that fishing is tied to one of the most tedious parts of the game already, with all the herb collection and growing nonsense you have to do for an effective potion farm, it makes fishing even more unlikable. And though the fish you need for these buffs aren't always uncommon, you are still forced to go to different biomes and sit in specific spots for a non-specific amount of time while attempting to get one of these fish for one potion. And if you didn't make a protected fishing space, or if you're not a summoner, then dealing with all the enemies who will definitely be swarming you as you try to fish up a prismite for example will not be fun, as this is easily the worst kind of grinding you can do. Mining is annoying, sure, but you always come up with valuable resources and possibly new tools or weapons. Grinding bosses might be annoying, but you get better at facing that boss and you get more materials you could either sell or use for more of what you need. But fishing? On a bad day, you'll come out with some okayish food, and on a good day, maybe a new weapon you'll use on one boss, or quest fish for an angler quest to get something stupid like fin wings or fish hook. Not worth it. Here's my most debatable point, but I believe that fishing isn't worth it in most circumstances. Unless you want easy food, then you're probably wasting your time. I can't lie, some great items that I love like frog legs are locked behind fishing, but other than that, nothing fishing related is worth it. Just about every gem that you get from fishing serves to make fishing easier, while getting crates is hardly useful since, sure, you get materials like lead or titanium in hard mode, but it's way less RNG heavy and probably more lucrative to just go down in the mines and get those ores for your sets. The quests are mostly pointless and unfun to go through because what you get is either nothing that helps you outside of fishing, or items like the fuzzy carrot that are only useful for a short amount of time, or items that flat out suck and aren't worth it like the fin wings, which are up after the 10th fishing quest in hard mode at a 1 in 70 chance, and are the same quality as fairy wings. Why you wouldn't just go 2 waverings instead and make pixie wings is entirely beyond me. Again, unless you're trying to get some nice food buffs, or if you're trying to get important potions like Life Force and Wrath, fishing is completely pointless and boring, and easily one of the worst and most mundane things you can do in Terraria. Conclusion: fishing is a terrible mechanic that may as well not even exist. For some, it can be relaxing and nice, while for most normal people, it's just one of those things that they can do to waste time in a playthrough. Even though I completely hate fishing since nothing related to it has really helped me, if you enjoyed, then don't let this video sway your mindset on how fishing is. I've been Alexander, and I hope that you like this one. I'll maybe see you later in my next story video. Subscribe and like my video.